Let's dive into Karis's training so we can stay consistent at home. Whenever she's doing behaviors that we want to keep seeing, whether that's following our commands or she's just giving us common behaviors that we want to keep seeing, we're going to reinforce and reward those with praise, petting, or treats. Then when she's doing things that we don't want to see, whether that's jumping up on us or she's not following our commands, we're going to follow through with our training equipment so we can discourage and so that we can decrease those behaviors. So let's go over Karis's training equipment. This is her prong collar. She's going to wear this whenever she is on a leash. How we take this on and off is we're just going to secure one of the links and push the other one through like so. To put it back together, we have to pinch this prong and put it through the holes of the other piece. And then when she has this on, the leash attaches to the D-ring that swivels. How we use this, say she's in the heel command. Heel just means walk next to me on that nice loose leash on the left side. Say she starts to pull ahead, we're going to say no, marking that incorrect behavior, pop of the leash, and then we remind her what command she's supposed to do. So no, pop, heel. And then when she gets back to us where we want her, we can give her that verbal praise, petting, and treats so that we can reward her for doing the behavior or the command that we are asking her. Now let's go over her remote collar. On and off button, black or these red dots on both the collar and the remote. Touch these together. This turns on the collar. That green light flashing means it's on, charged, and ready to go. On and off on button on the back, push and hold. This turns on the remote. You're going to see level 12 appear on the screen. This is Karis's working level, and then we're going to focus on the black S button. S just stands for stimulation, so it's kind of like an electric muscle stimulator. Let's say she's in that heel position again and she starts to pull ahead. We're going to say no, marking the incorrect behavior, black S button, heel, no, button, heel. Then depending on the level of distraction that we have with her, we may use one of these, we may use both of these. It just depends on the situation that we are in. With the remote collar, it's going to be the first thing that we put on in the morning and then the last thing that we take off at night. So that way we always have a form of communication with Karis throughout the day. With the prong collar, we're going to have this on whenever she's on a leash. So in the beginning, she may have the leash and prong on in the house to introduce the commands and the new boundaries to the house. And then we can slowly fade away from needing this in the house. But that is all of her training equipment. Now let's go over her commands. We've already kind of gone over the heel. Heel is that nice loose leash walking. Whenever we take her out on walks, about 80 to 90% of the walk should be in the heel position. The other 10 to 20%, give her that release word free and let her enjoy the walk. That's her time to do her business. Now we have sit. Sit means stay is implied until she's given the release word free. We like to use this with the door manner, so that way she can't just bolt through doors anymore. So when we approach a door, whether it's inside or outside, we'll have Karis sit. Sit means stay is implied, so as we're opening the door, Karis has to sit until we release her. So if she sits and stays, great. If not, we're going to follow through with our training equipment until she gets it right, so we can set the same boundaries that we have here at the facility at home. So if she sits and stays, great. When we open the door, we have two options. We can either free her through the door on her own or we can heel through the door with her. It depends on the situation that we are in. But if she stays, great. If not, follow through. Now we have down. Down also means stay is implied until she's given that release word free. With down, we never want to release her from a distance because then she'll get rewarded for coming to us and not staying in that down stay. So whenever we're practicing the down, say we're doing a little bit of distraction, we're going to go back to where she is and release her from where she's at. So that way she always gets rewarded for staying in that down stay and not coming to us. Then we'll reward this. We're going to reward as low to the ground as possible so she knows where that positive zone is. Now we have place. Place is a boundary stay that we can use whenever we have company coming over. So we can put her on place so that she can experience everything that's going on, but she isn't underneath of everybody's feet in the way or doing things that we don't want to see. So whenever we're practicing place, just like with down, we're never going to release her from a distance so she doesn't get rewarded for coming to us. Rather, we're going to go back to her and reward her and release her from where she's at. With this one, we're going to reward on the place bed so she knows that positive zone is the boundary that she is on. And then whenever we first start practicing this and with big distractions, we're going to have the leash and prong on. So that way if she does get off the place bed, we have a way to guide her back to the place bed and be able to maneuver her if we need to. Now we have come when called. Whenever we're practicing this one, we want to have like a 30 to 50 foot leash on her so that way she can go get distracted and we have a leash on her so that we can communicate with her if she decides to get extra distracted. Then with this one, we want to give her that free release word so that she can go get distracted and do her own thing. So that way we can call her to us because we're not going to put her in a sit stay because that's not how it's going to be every time we need her to come back to us. So when we practice this, we'll let her go free, get distracted. When we call her to us, we're going to say it in a nice, loud, firm tone, praise her as she's coming to us, backing up to invite her into our space, have her sit, and then we can give her the reward. Say she gets extra distracted off there sniffing something, we're going to say no, marking the incorrect behavior of not coming into our space. We'll call her again, follow through with the training equipment, and then when she gets back into our space again, we're still going to reward her because this command is very important, and we're never going to tell her that she messed up out there and then follow through training equipment in our space. We're always going to be the positive zone. Now we have leave it. Leave it just means don't grab that. So start out with dog safe foods, toss it on the ground, say leave it. If she does, great. If not, we're going to follow through the training equipment so we can discourage her from wanting to grab things off the ground. Then when you first practice this, I would suggest having the leash and prong on so we can guide her and maneuver her into different situations if we need to. So that is all of Karis's equipment and commands. So we're going to have fun, stay consistent, and this is going to be Karis doing her commands. Keep up, Beauty. Go.
are you? Girl. Safe. Heel. 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 Down. Girl. Down. Good. Down. Down. Good. Down. Down. Good. Down. Good girl. Good. Down. Free. Good girl. Leave it. Good girl. Free. Free. Okay. Good girl. Karis, free. You're free. There you go. Free. Leave it. Good girl. Free. Yeah. Okay, that one. This one. Free. Good girl. Leave it. Good girl. Free. Okay. Good job. Yes. You're a good girl. He's a good girl. Place. Girl. Place. Good. Place. Place.
Let's go over the other features of the remote. We've already gone over how to turn it on. Now let's go over how to turn it off. Same concept, red dots, touch them together. This is going to turn off the collar itself. On and off button on the back of the remote. Push and hold until the screen goes blank. Then now let's go over the other buttons on the remote. We've already gone over the black S button. That black S button is going to be the number that you see on the screen. On the other side, there is a T button. This is a vibrate feature. We like to use this to make sure that the collar is on and ready to go whenever we do put it on Karis. But when she gets further into her training and you notice that she doesn't really need the stimulation, say she's doing something that's kind of pushing the boundary, we can use that as a little bit of a reminder to say, hey, I don't like what you're doing, and just use the vibrate. And then on the other side, underneath the black S button, we have a red S button. This is a boost feature. So you see her level is 12. If I click the red S button, it's going to jump it to 32. So whatever number is on the screen, the red S button is going to jump it 20 levels. This is a feature that we can use whenever Karis is doing something dangerous, so we can still communicate with her, whether that's chasing a car or she's running off and not responding to us. We have a way to communicate with her to get her attention when she's in a high adrenaline state of mind, because level 12 reaches about here when not much is going on, and she is up here when she's doing something dangerous like chasing a car. So we need a way to communicate with her, so that way we can still communicate with her when she's doing things that are going to cause her harm. So that is going to be for emergency cases only. Then on the back of the remote, we have that on and off button. This also works as a flashlight feature. If we press it once rather than holding it, it's going to be a flashing flashlight. Press it twice, solid flashlight. Third time turns it off. Then on the back, there's also an M/C button. This stands for momentary or continuous. At the beginning of Karis's training, we started out as continuous at a very low level, and then when she got further into her training, we move over to momentary at a little bit of a or higher level, so that way we can communicate with her. And then say level 12 isn't working for Karis and she's either having too much of a reaction or she's not responding to it all. We have a way to change that by holding down on this dial until that 1D at the top of the screen starts flashing, and then we can rotate it to whatever number works for Karis. Level 12 seems to be working for her right now, but that's not saying it's not going to change when she gets further into her training. So what I'm going to do, change it back to 12 and hold down on the dial until that 1D stops flashing. So that way when we put it in our pocket, we can't accidentally rotate it and change the level that it is on. They both are rechargeable. Charging port on the remote is underneath the on and off button. For the collar, it is in between the prongs. If she wears it for about 12 to 14 hour days, it should last for 2 days. So if you charge it every other day, you should be good. It does come with a dual charger, so you can charge them both at the same time. Then it does come with extra prongs. These are going to be longer prongs, so if you let Karis grow out her hair and you notice that her prongs are making good contact with her skin, you can always switch her over. But if she stays nice and short, she should have no problem with keeping these shorter prongs on, as long as you notice that the prongs are still making great contact with her skin. On the bottom of the box, we have the manual. So if you have any other questions about the remote or you want to change things, you can absolutely do that. And then this remote and collar both come with a 2-year warranty, so if you have any issues with it, you can contact the company and they should get one sent over to you or figure out what the issue is with your remote and collar. They both are waterproof as well, so if you have any issues with her getting wet, so she's going to be wet for a long time, I would suggest rotating the collar so it doesn't just irritate or run one part of her neck too much. Other than that, so she is safe to use whenever she is wet. But that is all the other features of the remote. So just like in the beginning, we're going to have fun and stay consistent.